is a very sad day for actresses attending the Cannes Film Festival who were planning to show up to the red carpet wearing nothing but tissue paper over their breasts. The new rule states that in the interest of decency and respect for society, they need to be wearing clothes in front of the cameras. And it's just shocking to me in the first place that this needs to be stated. But it got to the point last year at the Cannes Film Festival where people were just showing up in less than underwear with areolas out. It was fully free the nip, and not just because it's held in France. I think they have a bigger problem with protesters crashing the event than people who were actually invited showing up without clothes. But this is a step in the right direction. So as you can see in these two examples, you have Bella Hadid at last year's Cannes Film Festival wearing a sheer dress that is nude, flesh-toned, and in other photos you can very clearly see that her nipples are out, but not in this one specifically. And then this other example, I'm not sure who this is, but she's wearing a completely sheer excuse for a dress. I wouldn't even call it a dress, with barely anything covering her vagina or her boobs, and legs just fully out. You're basically flashing people, and this is what was considered acceptable dress at the Cannes Film Festival up until just now, when they've announced a new dress code. So I went to the Cannes Film Festival website and looked at their official guidelines for the update. It says they are expecting evening wear, long dresses, tuxedos required. Alternatively, you may also wear a little black dress, a cocktail dress, a dark-colored pantsuit. I think people are going to take the term little black dress and run with that one and take it as far as they can. Dressy top with black pants, elegant shoes, and sandals with or without a heel, no sneakers, a black or navy blue suit with a bow tie or dark-colored tie. Tote bags, backpacks, or large bags are prohibited during screenings. For decency reasons, here is the key part of it. For decency reasons, nudity is prohibited on the red carpet at Cannes, as well as in any other area of the festival. And the festival welcoming teams will be obligated to prohibit red carpet access to anyone not respecting these rules. For all other screenings, proper attire is sufficient. And there was one extra note. Voluminous outfits, in particular those with a large train on the back that hinder proper flow of traffic of guests and complicate seating in the theater, are not permitted. I kind of, tell me if I'm making this up, if this is like some kind of Mandela effect, but don't you remember last year at Cannes, there was one specific celebrity that showed up with an extremely long, obstructive train on her dress and was yelling at people working the event?
Was she saying choo choo? I don't remember that.
Do you know what a train is?
I have no idea what that means. I'm a dude.
Okay, a train on a dress or a veil or whatever it is, it's basically like a long piece of fabric that follows along and drags on the floor.
Okay.
So this one, I cannot remember who it was, but it turned into a whole racism scandal because there was a staff member at the Cannes Film Festival last year who was white, telling this black female celebrity that she needed to move off of the red carpet.
I remember that.
She was trying to get a proper photo of
she didn't pay
huge train on her dress.
So this, if I remember correctly, the one lady didn't pay to be photographed. Like, you have to pay to be photographed on the stairs at Cannes or whatever. And
I guess her team didn't tell her that.
Her team didn't pay for that.
It was crazy that this staff member ended up being targeted and called a racist just for enforcing the rules. Now
that was that guy. It was it was a woman. It was a woman, right? It was like a female worker.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was a white woman. The celebrity was a black woman, and it turned into this whole like racial controversy. Now the Cannes Film Festival staff are gonna have a much more challenging task, basically being the chaperones at this middle school dance. I remember every time that I went to a middle school or high school dance at my religious schools, you had to start off in line at a door, and then
Mm-hmm.
the teachers or chaperones would have to evaluate what you were wearing.
Make sure that you were.
The rules were very strict. I mean, almost impossible to find stuff that fit these rules. But 3 fingers below the collarbone.
That was the most you could
at
do?
most showing on your chest.
And I bet you they picked the teacher with the tiniest, thinnest fingers in the whole school
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
the
exactly.
measuring.
And the straps, if you were wearing anything without sleeves, had to be, I believe, at least 3 fingers thick.
A
Maybe
strap
more.
this thick?
Yeah. Yeah, it had
Where the
to be
hell do you,
like
that's
this.
just a waistband. Where the
But
hell-
it was like, it better be covering all of the armpit area here.
Shoulders are
Shoulders-
very distracting.
Shoulder is okay, but we can't have anything up here showing.
Collarbone is very
No
distracting to
collarbone.
men.
No collarbone, because the middle school boys were going to act up if they all saw any collarbone. And of course, no skirts that were anywhere above the knee. It had to be at or below the knee. And having experienced these strict rules just in, my school years, I have no resentment for it. I completely respect that they have the standards that they hold, and I agree with it. So it's only fair that these adult women attending this prestigious art event should, behave in a mature adult fashion and actually dress themselves in the morning before they show up. It's
No,
ridiculous.
What they're gonna say, they're gonna be like, "Look, art is all about setting yourself free and realizing that there are no real boundaries," or something lame like that.
Look, I thought that Cannes was about movies and not Bella Hadid's titties.
it reminded me
Forgive
of
me
that,
if I got the wrong idea.
You got the wrong idea. It reminded me of, there was like 2 different, I think I have the one pulled up. There was like 2 different situations that happened where chess grandmasters were in trouble for not wearing the right attire to their match.
What are they supposed to wear to matches?
I think he had to be wearing like suit pants and he was wearing jeans or something. I saw another
It's
one
like,
about,
no, I need to wear jeans so I can think.
I saw another one about the shoes or something like that. They weren't wearing the right shoes and all that stuff. When you've got all the time preparing for your, like, for instance, in the midst of planning a wedding, I'm going to have to figure out how to tie a tie. I've never had to tie a tie in my entire life.
Yeah, your wedding has a dress code.
Yep.
I plan to respect it.
Yep.
It is what it is. It's about respect not only for the people around you, the people working the event, the other people in your industry attending the event. It's also about respect for yourself. And if you do have a shred of self-respect,
Okay, well-
you're not going to be going out with your areolas just for the world to see. I don't think that the color of your areolas is something that everyone in the world should know about you,
My
actually.
biggest pet peeve with most of this
Hot
is
take.
that most of these women are part of an industry that tends to shame the male gaze in the movies that they make, but then when they actually go out on the red carpet, they have the most look at me
Yeah.
please outfit you could ever possibly put on. And I find that to be just a bit hypocritical. Their argument that they make is that it's bad for women when they do it in the movies because it's a
Right.
man who's directing it or it's a man who wrote it. Therefore, she's subjugating herself despite the fact that she's getting paid to do it. And she, capitalistically speaking, entered into a contract to perform said acts and has decided that, if depending on how much you believe in the decency, like they're willing to sell their morals for a price. They're paying to go to these red carpets. They're doing it for free.
Well, it's more than a bit hypocritical. It's definitely a huge glaring disconnect there between what is seen as acceptable for women in the movies they star in or the TV shows they star in versus what they wear to promote those TV shows and movies.
It was
And
we
it's
talked about
not-
that in relation to Madam Web and
Yeah,
Dakota Johnson
exactly.
and all of that stuff.
Yeah, Sydney
I-
Sweeney as well on the red carpet. They're out there with everything showing, and then in the movie, it's a
Yeah.
totally different story. But it's
To
not
be
just
fair, Florence Pugh seems to want to make me look at her, even though I want nothing to do with
Oh, yeah.
seeing her. She's like, "Hey, look at me!"
Florence Pugh wants the entire world to look at her chest.
Yeah,
It's weird.
yeah, it's weird.
It's getting to a point where it seems exhibitionist and pervy.
No,
pervy.
see, but I was saying,
it's
but to be
pervy
fair-
to like want everyone to look at you like that. It's like
To be fair, she does it in the
No one
movies too,
asked.
because it was in Oppenheimer.
Right.
made you
Everyone
look.
watching Oppenheimer was forced to look at Florence Pugh's titties, and I didn't want that. I didn't want that to be seared into my memory.
In the chat said don't worry, Brett, tying a tie's easy, you'll get it. I said, can you imagine if I showed up on our wedding day with a clip-on tie? Just the dread in Olivia's voice as she in her eyes as she realized that holy crap, what have I gotten myself into?
No, you're better than that. I believe that you're better
I will
than that.
figure it out.
Now, this is not just a problem with the Cannes Film Festival. This goes for every Hollywood event these days. The Oscars, the VMAs, it doesn't matter what red carpet. You will look at the photos on Getty Images the next day, and women just have their entire body showing, and this was the dominant trend on the red carpet as of last year as well.
Yep.
I sent you several examples, but we can't even scroll through them because a lot of them aren't
I
YouTube friendly.
I showed the Fanning one.
Yeah, there's, Elle Fanning basically wearing saran wrap at the Met Gala last year.
Yep.
And countless other examples. It's time to put a stop to it. There was also Zoe Kravitz just back in March this year showing up to the Oscars red carpet with butt cleavage. Just, that's the new trend, butt cleavage. Hollywood is obsessed with it. The best thing that could happen from this is that Cannes Film Festival starts a trend. How about the rest of these events start enforcing decency dress codes where we're not forced to look at people showing up naked?
I can't wait for the articles that are going to be written about how this is oppressive towards women and the patriarchy is just reasserting itself.
Don't worry. It's only oppressive when Bianca Censori shows up naked.
Yes.
The rest of the time, it's empowering.
Of course.
I don't know if anyone told you that, but those are the rules.
Yes.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.